The health sector faced significant challenges in November, marked by both progress and setbacks. The Ministry of Health redirected services from the Castries Wellness Center to the Leclerc and nearby wellness centers due to hazardous conditions caused by the structural and situational deterioration of the Castries facility. Efforts to strengthen primary care services nationwide continued, with the transformation of Victoria Hospital into a modern Castries urban polyclinic identified as a key component of these improvements. In Dennery, the ministry announced that renovations on the Larry Schuss Wellness Center were nearing completion. 9 years after a fire severely damaged the facility, the center was set to resume operations, restoring an essential healthcare resource to the community. However, supply chain issues delayed progress on the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction project, a 15-year-long initiative. Despite these setbacks, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre expressed confidence that the project would be completed in 2025.
And for these projects, you have supply chain issues. But construction is happening. 4 of the buildings are either completed or very near completion. I have not had it a bit for a while because, you know, the difference in me as a Prime Minister, I allow my ministers the responsibility to do their jobs. And I think that's one of the problems. Prime Ministers believe they can do everything and they know everything and they profess to know everything. And you criticize me sometimes, you might say I do not know. So what I'm understood is that I know, in fact, that the St. Jude is progressing.
Meanwhile, the United Workers' Party, UWP, intensified its criticism of the country's healthcare system, citing the poor state of facilities and services. The UWP held multiple public demonstrations, including one outside the Owen King EU Hospital, to call attention to these issues. November saw a mix of proactive measures, alarming incidents, and calls for action in the fight against crime in St. Lucia. The St. Lucia National Youth Council hosted a national crime consultation to address rising concerns about crime, especially among the youth, and its implications for the island's development. The discussion focused on actionable solutions to reduce violence and improve safety.
To partner with the National Youth Council to put on an event like this was quite impressive. We saw a wide range of stakeholders really come and share their perspectives on what's happening with crime and violence in the country and the response that is needed for young people. We really saw coming out of those discussions a really poignant and really focused discussion on how to create an enabling environment for our young people to thrive and survive.
There were several notable incidents during the month. 2 suspects were arrested in connection with the death of 35-year-old Dunjuma Paul Butcher, while police continued to search for a suspect in the killing of N.K. Senville. In a separate incident, 2 unidentified males were gunned down in broad daylight at Derek Walcott Square, prompting citizens to voice their concerns about escalating violence. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force RSLPF released updated crime statistics reporting 70 homicides for the year, the majority linked to gang activity.
Based on my vantage point, the issue of gangs is properly catalogued by the police as an organization. We are aware of some of the more established groups. I hope that answers your question.
Meanwhile, the Southern Division of the RSLPF achieved a dramatic reduction in crime, dropping from the highest crime rate in June to the lowest by November, a success attributed to community engagement and police initiatives. Efforts to improve public safety continued with police operations yielding arrest and seizures of illegal firearms and drugs, while the K9 unit was successfully re-established with a highly trained dog donated by the Gendarmerie.
Thus far, the K9 unit has participated in a number of operations. And of course, during those operations, firearms and drugs have been recovered. So yes, I would say it's successful thus far.
There were also broader calls for action. Archbishop Gabriel Malzer urged society to reject violence, and activist Aaron Alexander appealed to young men to resolve disputes peacefully. At the regional level, Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, announced plans for a Caribbean-wide gangs database and a CARICOM arrest warrant bill to combat cross-border crime.
Our little criminal punks must now know that every CARICOM territory, the law applies to them equally with respect, well, as soon as we implement the laws, that with respect to warrants for their restraint, apprehension, in anticipation of successful prosecution, that there are no safe harbors in any of our CARICOM territory.
The month highlighted both the challenges and the progress in St. Lucia's efforts to address crime, underscoring the need for ongoing vigilance and collaboration. November was marked by political demonstrations, legal battles, and significant developments in St. Lucia's political landscape. The United Workers' Party, UWP, staged a peaceful protest outside the Citizenship by Investment unit, demanding greater transparency and accountability regarding the program.
Who are they sharing that 600 million with? How come we, the owners of that passport, okay, the people whose citizenship, the St. Lucian citizenship belong to, cannot get an answer as to what is happening to that money? There is something untoward, and the questions must be answered. It is our business. Don't tell us it's not our business, it is our business. We want to know where the money goes. WTF, where are the funds? CIP represents corruption in power, or criminals in power carrying out the corruption.
UWP officials continued to pressure the government to address their concerns through public demonstrations and correspondence with the Prime Minister. Separately, the chairman of the UWP's Castries East constituency led a solo protest highlighting the high cost of fuel, following a series of similar demonstrations earlier in the week. Prime Minister Philippe J. Pierre, leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party (SLP), received unanimous support from his party during this annual closed session. Pierre expressed his gratitude after being granted a 100% vote of confidence by SLP delegates, marking the third consecutive time he received such endorsement. Legal matters also took center stage. Special Prosecutor Robert Innocent dismissed all complaints filed by former Acting Comptroller of Customs Peter Chico against 5 government officials, including Prime Minister Pierre and the Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire. Despite the dismissal, Chico vowed to continue pursuing the case involving Dr. Hilaire and the Range Rover. Meanwhile, opposition leader Alan Chasney secured permission to appeal the Land Rover case at the Caribbean Court of Justice. This legal dispute between Chasney and Dr. Hilaire over the importation of a Range Rover Sport continued to dominate headlines. The month underscored the ongoing political tensions in St. Lucia, with key players actively engaged in protest, party activities, and legal proceedings. November saw a series of urgent calls for improved road safety measures in St. Lucia due to a rising number of collisions and fatalities. Prime Minister Philippe J. Pierre and the National Council on Public Transportation urged the police to be equipped with speed guns and breathalyzers to tackle the escalating traffic incidents.
We are aware that the police hands are tied because as we speak, we still don't have what would we call breathalyzers and speed guns to equip the police to be able to stop somebody that is driving too fast. And that, I believe if we had breathalyzers, speed guns, maybe to check persons under the influence of alcohol or drugs, it would minimize the number of crashes we have on the road.
This appeal followed a tragic collision in Prale, which resulted in the death of a bus driver. The cause of the crash remained under investigation. On November 21st, the government announced plans for a socially inclusive and gender-responsive road safety awareness campaign. Spearheaded by Fred's Engineering, the initiative aimed to address the increasing road accidents and fatalities, promoting safer driving behaviors across the island.
We want to get a better understanding of the road safety situation in St. Lucia so that we can collaboratively develop and implement a road safety campaign that is evidence-based and representative of stakeholders' feedback and inputs. We want to build relationships with key road safety stakeholders like the media so that we can get project buy-in from the public, private, and civil society stakeholders. We also want to foster and encourage knowledge transfer and institutional strengthening through capacity building and the sharing of ideas.
Additionally, the president of the National Council on Public Transportation called for the long-discussed implementation of a driver's license demerit points system. This system, which has been part of local legislation for over 20 years, was recently adopted in Antigua and Barbuda, and local leaders believed it could help reduce road accidents in St. Lucia. A concerned citizen also made a plea in November for the installation of school zone signs near Vidbutey Primary School and the Patricia D. James Secondary School. The request came after several near misses involving speeding vehicles, raising concerns about the safety of students in the area.